Thank you. Senator Klobuchar asked whether AI will lead us to heaven or hell. It reminded me of a famous observation by Yale law professor Grant Gilmore that in heaven there is no law, and the lion will lie down with the lamb. In hell, there is nothing but law, and due process is meticulously observed. Let me ask you this, and this is to each of the four witnesses. In the race for AI, who's winning, America or China? If the answer is America, how close is China to us? And what do we do to make sure the answer remains America will win? Mr. Altman, we'll start with you.
Welcome back, Patriots, to Right View Nation, where we don't tiptoe around truth, we stomp it out in red, white, and blue boots. Today, we're talking about something so critical, so dangerous, and so utterly overlooked by the left-wing tech class that I can't sit quiet anymore. The question was asked loud and clear. Who's winning the AI race, America or communist China? And folks, if that doesn't shake you to your core, then I don't know what will. Let's set the stage.
It is our belief that the American models, including some models from our company, OpenAI, and Google and others, are the best models in the world. It's very hard to say how far ahead we are, but I would say not a huge amount of time. And I think to continue that leadership position and the influence that comes with that, and all of the incredible benefits of the world using American technology products and services, the things that my colleagues have spoken about here, the need to win in infrastructure, sensible regulation that does not slow us down, this sort of spirit of innovation and entrepreneurship that I think is a uniquely American thing in the world. None of this is rocket science. We just need to keep doing the things that have worked for so long and not make a silly mistake.
Dr. Su?
I'll answer in the realm of chips. I would say America is ahead in chips today. We have the best AI accelerators in the world. I think China, although they have restrictions given their ability to use advanced technologies, the one thing that's very important for us all to remember is there are multiple ways to do things. Having the best chips is great, but even if you don't have the best chips, you can get a lot done. So I think this conversation about how far behind China is, they are certainly catching up because there are many ways to do things. I think relative to what we can do, I will continue to say, really ensure that our spirit of innovation is allowed to work. And that is having very supportive government policies to do that, having very consistent policies, and allowing us to do what we do best, which is innovate at every layer of the stack.
Mr. Trader?
So I'll speak to it from the physical infrastructure and software stack to deliver that. America is ahead, but it is the Achilles heel from the perspective of the ability, as I started to Better? Sorry about that. So the ability to build very large solutions to the computing infrastructure component of this is an area that we're going to struggle with from a permitting and building large projects to be able to deliver the power to allow those building artificial intelligence to continue to move as fast as they can in the race that we're in.
Mr. Smith?
I think the United States has a lead today in what is a close race and a race that will likely remain close. The number one factor that will define whether the United States or China wins this race is whose technology is most broadly adopted in the rest of the world. This is a global market, and it will be defined as technology markets typically are by network effects. 18% of the people in the world live in China, 4% live in the United States, 78% live somewhere else. The lesson from Huawei and 5G is whoever gets there first will be difficult to supplant. We need to export with the right kinds of controls. We need to win the trust of the rest of the world. We need to have the financial architecture that gets not only to the countries that are industrialized, but the nations, say, across Africa, where typically China and Huawei have done so well.
So some of my colleagues have made reference to standards as something that is desirable, and I will say standards is often code word for regulations, and indeed the EU's stifling standards concerning the internet is what killed tech in Europe. We are seeing now state legislatures mimicking the EU, such as California's SB 1047, which thankfully was overwhelmingly defeated, but would have created essentially a California DMV for AI model registration. How harmful would it be to winning the race for AI if America goes down the road of the EU and creates a heavy-handed prior approval government regulatory process for AI?
I think that would be disastrous. To give a more specific answer to your previous question, which I think touches on why it would be so bad, there are three key inputs to these AI systems. There's compute, all the infrastructure we're talking about. There's algorithms that we all do research on, and there's data. If you don't have any one of those, you cannot succeed in making the best models. And as Brad said, the way for America to influence the world here is to have the technology that people most want to use and most adopt. The world uses iPhones and Google and Microsoft products, and that's wonderful. Like, that's how we have our influence. We don't want that to stop happening. So systems that stop us on any of these areas, you know, if we have rules about what data we can train on that are not competitive with the rest of the world, then things can fall apart. If we are not able to build the infrastructure, and particularly if we're not able to manufacture the chips in this country, the rules can fall apart. If we can't build the products that people want, that naturally win in the market, and I think people do want to use American products, we can make them the best. But if we're prevented from doing that, people will use a better product made from somebody else that doesn't have the sort of, you know, that is not stymied in the same way. So it is, I am nervous about standards being set too early. I'm totally fine, you know, with the position some of my colleagues took, that standards, once the industry figures out what they should be, it's fine for them to be adopted by a government body and sort of made more official. But I believe the industry is moving quickly towards figuring out the right protocols and standards here, and we need the space to innovate and to move quickly.
So if each of you could briefly answer that question, because my time's expired, so I want to be respectful of that.
I agree with the comments that Sam put up.
I agree, and I would just say, and I think the point you're making is we have to be very careful not to have these pre-approval requirements, including at state levels, because that would really slow innovation in the country.
I think that a patchwork of regulatory overlays will cause friction in the ability to build and extend what we're doing.
Thank you. Senator Curtis.
Senator Ted Cruz, one of the last few voices in Washington with a spine, looked the big tech elite straight in the face and asked, "Are we still in the lead when it comes to AI, or has China caught up?" Now let's be real here. This isn't about gadgets or apps. This is about the future of freedom itself. Sam Altman, CEO of OpenAI, you know, the guy who's working hand in glove with the Biden administration while pretending to be a neutral tech guy, says we're ahead, but just barely. And he says we shouldn't overregulate AI. That's rich coming from a Silicon Valley billionaire who built a chatbot that sounds more woke than a Berkeley freshman dorm. But hold up, he's actually right about one thing. Overregulation is a death sentence to innovation. California tried to pull the ultimate silicon snare with SB 1047, an AI model registry that would have turned every AI creator into a DMV employee. These lunatics want AI companies to go begging for permission before they innovate. Newsflash, if we want to lose to China, that's exactly how you do it. Meanwhile, China's not waiting for a permission slip. They're building AI that tracks citizens, scores their loyalty, and deploys drone surveillance faster than you can say social credit. Let me make something crystal clear. This is not just a technological competition, it's a war for influence. And Brad Smith from Microsoft finally said something worth hearing. Whoever gets the rest of the world to adopt their tech will win. Boom. That's it. That's the whole game, folks. You think Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia are going to pick America's innovation if it's bogged down in woke regulation and red tape? Not a chance. China's already handing out 5G like candy, while we're busy arguing over whether AI is inclusive enough. Give me a break. These tech CEOs say the US has better chips, better algorithms, better infrastructure, and yet they act like we're fragile. We're not fragile, we're being held back. Held back by bureaucrats, held back by ESG investors, and held back by a media that's more obsessed with pronouns than productivity. And don't even get me started on the data issue. Altman admitted it. No data, no success. And guess what? While we're busy tying ourselves in legal knots about what data we can't use, China is gobbling up everything it can, no questions asked. This isn't a Silicon Valley debate. This is about survival. Because if China wins the AI war, the rules change forever. It'll be Beijing's boot on the digital throat of every free nation left standing. Forget innovation. Forget liberty. You'll have apps spying on you. Social credit tracking your faith, your politics, your patriotism. You say something they don't like? Boom, no travel, no job, no rights. We're already seeing it here at home. Censorship is creeping in. Big tech colludes with government. Algorithms are trained not to be fair, but to be compliant. If we allow leftist regulation to dominate this frontier, we're surrendering America's soul. You want to know what keeps America ahead? Not chips, not data centers. Patriotic grit. The willingness to fight for freedom, again and again, in every generation. We built the greatest nation on earth by pushing forward, not by playing scared. So here's my challenge to every American CEO, policymaker, and citizen listening. Stop apologizing. Stop regulating. Start building. Start winning. And to every left-wing keyboard warrior out there whining about AI equity and algorithmic fairness, wake up. If China wins, your feelings won't save you. Only freedom will. And freedom is what Right View Nation fights for. This is our moment. This is our race to win. And we won't win it by kneeling. We win it by standing tall, like Americans always have. The question isn't, will we win? The question is, do we have the guts to stay free? Like, share, subscribe. Raise your voice before China raises theirs in your backyard. Right View Nation. Unfiltered. Uncensored. Unafraid.